Now, in South Africa, the reality, in the world, by the way, this is the reality. Okay? Only 8% of the world retires in what we call financial independence. Financial independence means you are not dependent on anyone in order for you to sustain yourself. But the other 92%, Basi, woo, Bomo Iponi, ever since they went to Joburg, they don't come back. They didn't even fix the tiles. Bomo Iponi have not upgraded the house because they are financially dependent. So you, right now, judging the older generation for being demanding. If you are not paying attention to your money, who are you going to become? Them. You're going to be like, Abo Zibu, ngimkhulisile and I paid her school fees. That child, guys, ubhizi uthenga bo Bentley. Like, but buka kwam. So the reason that people talk like that is because they've come to the reality of that. Okay? So today, just for this section before tea, we are going to talk about how that 92% fail and what you can do to become part of the 8%. Okay? So in your books, you're on page 13, because I know some people like to make notes, right? So reason number one why the 92% fail is lack of knowledge. Okay? People don't understand how hard it is to get anything done when you don't know how to do it. Do you understand that? Like if I send you to make me coffee, it's gonna be relatively easy for you to make coffee and faster if you know how the kettle works, how electricity works. Do you understand? Yes. But the challenge that we have is some people don't have the knowledge. So when it comes to knowledge, first of all, you pay for not knowing. Are you guys aware? Yeah. After tea, we're going to be talking about how much are you paying for not knowing, okay? You're paying a lot of money. All that 13 million, 18 million, the millions that you have, all that cost went to the fact that you are not aware that every time you got a salary, you're getting an opportunity, okay? And I'm going to show you how. Other people have got lack of self-esteem, okay? So some people simply do not care. Have you ever heard a person that says, Tina ekagiti, we are just not blessed with money? Or really, do you now understand why people think kunalibuloyi ba money? Because if you calculate and you see you've made 2 million, but you don't even have 20,000, it's witchcraft straight, right? Yeah. The problem is not anti-mang-mang, it's just general witchcraft. Because when we calculate that million and then we ask, so how much do you have left? Most people don't even have 1% of the total. And that's witchcraft, right? So, but the one thing that you need to really fight with all your might is to get knowledge. And when I say knowledge, I don't mean listen to Zibu or buy Zibu's book only. I mean every single human you can find to follow who's talking about money, listen to them, okay? Every book that you think can help you get that information, read it, because information will take you further than getting more money. And whatever amount of money that you think you are saving by not going to that other person's seminar, you're not saving it. You can't say, yo, I already spent 2,000 on Zibu Shame, so I spent enough. Even if it's a good, if you know that it's a place that's going to help you grow your knowledge of how to manage finances, go. The return that you will get from there is better than any pair of sneakers that cost 2,000 Rand that you've ever bought. Okay, so lack of knowledge is the one that kills people. Secondly, people don't know where to go for real knowledge. I have clients that are postdoctoral students. In South Africa, you study from grade R all the way to PhD. Nobody ever explains to you what is tax. Did you guys not get a shock of your life when you get your first job and they took the whole lot of it? Yeah. Isn't that a shock? When I went to HR, I was like, like, I read my offer letter, it said 12,500. 250,000, I divided it by the 13 because my mother told me, no, there's a 13 check. So I knew exactly what I was getting. And then this, And he was a Boer man. He said, no, now that's for the African National Congress. So isn't it shocking that you would go through school and nobody will explain tax to you? People don't understand the simple thing that companies are taxed at 28%, but individuals at 40-something%. So the best thing to do is to incorporate yourself and have a company. And if your employer will pay you via your company, get several employers and let them all pay you via your company. Get it? And that is the future. And when you're an individual, you get taxed before expenses. But when you're a business, you get paid, you minus your rent, your car, your interest payments, everything, and then you get taxed. Do you understand? Yes. So most people that you see of other races that have got more money is because they are incorporated. So you pay tax before your expenses, and they pay tax after their expenses. Do you understand? So when you understand how to manage your money, it becomes better. So any amount of information that you can get on how to better give yourself the edge, guys, get it. Life is very sad when there is no money. Money makes life easier to navigate, okay? Don't follow people that are lying to you. It's nice to have money, okay? The second reason why the 92% struggle is lack of foresight. You can only ever get money from 3 places, right? Oh, there's a hand. Or incorporation. So for example, okay, so let's talk about if you are a freelancer or a person that does work for more than one employer. It makes sense for you to open a company that does that, and then when you get and ask them to pay you via contract rather than permanently employ you, because then you can get your money via your company because you're not getting it from one source, okay? And then you get taxed after your expenses, okay? And we masterclass, we go into detail that when you're doing one-on-one, because it's dependent on the work that you do, okay? But if you can, and you can, because most people, say we're not in Durban, most people of a certain race in South Africa, that's what they negotiate when they get a job. Is don't hire me permanently. I don't want a permanent employment. You shouldn't want that. Okay? The challenge with permanent employment, it gives you the false perception that your job is permanent. Is there such a thing as a permanent job? No. Hi guys, when the thingy hits the fan, the first thing that you cut is labor.
So if you get an offer from an NGO, you can actually say the same thing.
Yeah, they're giving you an offer to do their communications for them. You say, thank you, but instead of you hiring me, can you please appoint my company? I've got a communications company. Appoint my company, and what you are going to pay me as a salary, I will invoice. Yes, if you're already permanently employed, it depends on who. If it's private sector, you can negotiate. If it's government, you can also negotiate as long as you are in a directorship position and you know those 5 years contracts. Yes, but generally, it is better to be incorporated than to encounter the world as an individual. And another thing, people have the belief that there is anything called permanent employment must leave your mind. Okay? Did you guys see SAPC? Sure. That woman saying, I can't believe you are doing this to us. We've been working here for more than 14 years, giving our life. Does that matter if the company is making losses? Okay, so if you start screaming, you think your employer owes you, who thinks their employer owes them a job? Guys, then you are financially disabled. Do you know what is financial disability? It's not having an ability to make money without an employer. If you're in that situation, you are vulnerable, please meet me. It's like people who go and study human resources, then they get hired by SAA. They work at SAA Human Resources, no problem. But the day SAA closes, she doesn't know what to do with her human resources. Like you don't know what to do with your industrial psychology. I've got a degree in it, but you don't know what to do with your industrial psychology in order to make money for you. So whatever it is that is your area of knowledge, you need to consult somebody to help you understand how to make money out of that, because there is no way that you can sell your HR. It means right now, without an employer, you are unable to sustain yourself. How do you even have children when you cannot sustain yourself outside of an employer? Employers face challenges. You must have such a great skill that you know that if this employer leaves, I'm selling my skill. So you can't be like shouting, yeah, you guys are closing down Denel. You are killing us. You're an engineer. Take your engineering, do something. Do you understand? Yes. So that is some of the false beliefs that we have about the opportunities is that we want to be dependent. When we were in apartheid, we were conditioned to be dependent. You cannot survive without your bus. You need your bus. Right? But now we are in freedom. You need to be able to survive without your boss. And in order for you to do that, you need to have foresight.
Bad thing money-wise, if you are not permanent, what would be maybe the penalty if you are not, what are you missing if you are not permanent? Because you can have your own financial policies for pension funds, because the only benefit, I don't know, what did I miss if I was not permanently employed, because my contract was long.
It's the belief that our parents had. Our parents had believed that you must have a PESEL number, okay? The only difference, when you believe that you're permanent, it means you can relax. Like they can't fire you immediately. If they don't like you, they must suck it up, because CCMA is there protecting you. When you're on contract, you are forced to be on your toes, because at the end of your contract, they might not renew. So you must constantly deliver value. You must constantly prove why you are an asset to this company. And shouldn't you always be constantly seeking to prove why you're an asset? Right? I always used to tell my employers, I don't plan to be here after 3 years. I need to go. So lots of people, though, don't have foresight. You either get money from your own work, or you get it from a passive income, or then you become dependent on government and charity, okay? But in order for you, who actually has imagined themselves 20 years? Who's born in the 1980s? Because, guys, we are going through a crisis. 80s people, okay. 80s people, 20 years from now, you're going to hit retirement. I promise you, have you checked how much is in your pension? If you've got 5 million rand or less, in less than 2 years, you will be broke. The problem is we don't think of ourselves in the future. You know, like we always say this question, say, what would you tell a 20-year-old Zibu? No, the 60-year-old Zibu must tell this 40-year-old Zibu that, see, go rough. People that used to see you driving nice cars, living in, they are going to see you suffer. And remember, unless you apply that foresight, when you get your money, we're going to discuss it to the end of the day, but I want you to keep it in your head. When you get your money, when that opportunity comes, you must think of the past, that's all your debt, the present, that's all your expenses, the future, that's your investments. If you are not thinking of those 3 things, you're going to arrive at a future that is really, really harsh. Then you're going to start thinking, now you are not blessed with your children. You understand? Because they didn't practice foresight. So a lot of people that are in the 92%, they struggle because they do not have practiced foresight and ability to see into the future and to plan for it. The future doesn't happen to us. You guys are aware? Yeah. We don't just arrive. We create it. Like you created this moment to be in this class. You didn't just wake up and you find yourself here. You actually created an expectation that I'm going to be there. You booked, you paid, you followed up. You are creating the future, which is now your present. It's the same for your future. You need to build it. It's just that most people want to act like they were surprised into their lives. Do you know those people? When your wife finally says, that's it, I want a divorce. And the guy says, I don't get it. Like, we were fine. Are we not fine? You're like, no! I've been complaining. Do you understand? So you must be present in your life. Lack of foresight is one of the biggest things that challenges people. The third thing is instant gratification. Oh my God, guys. I also suffer from this one. I still pray. Instant gratification. We are growing up in a country that has got so much opportunity and provision that you don't even realize it until you travel outside of it. Okay? I traveled to New York in 2019, and then I was being driven with a friend of mine, and then I was on a call. Then I said, oh, my helper was calling me because my son. And she said, oh, your helper is still at home? What time is it in South Africa? It was around 7. I'm like, no, my helper has lived it. She's like, what? You've got a... Can't how rich are you? Because in the US, nobody has a live-in helper unless they're like Beyonce. Yes. I actually thought about it. We run a mini slavery thing in South Africa. You have a whole other human being live at your house. Do you understand? Like, they should get paid a lot. So I was like, so how do you cope with your 2 children? She's like, I suffer. You know what I mean? Like, literally. So when you live in South Africa, there's a lot of things that you take for granted, right? But instant gratification is one of the things that really, really is a challenge for us as South Africans. Because, I mean, how old were you guys when we were watching MacGyver? Okay, I'm old. MacGyver is like a series. Anything that happens, a problem happens now, then the superhero comes, then they solve the problem, then in 30 minutes it's done. And series, at that time when they were designing video shows, they said the thing from the problem starting to the solution being found must be less than 45 minutes because humans want the gratification. They don't want to watch something where no solution happens. Are you guys aware that's what you want? Like Utatako, you don't want to watch an episode where the person is explaining their problem and then the results are going to come next week. Do you want that? No, like the problem must be discussed now. Mabalo ngoko, it test mayenziwe ngoko, it results, you understand? So everything around us is designed to give us instant gratification. You know, when we grew up, when you clicked enter on your computer did this. Mine doesn't even do that, but my son, they want to click and then the page must come. That's the speed that they expect. So because we are like that, we even don't pay attention to the fact that when you want like a shoe, it's possible to save for it. When you want a couch, it's possible to save for it. When you want a house, it's possible to save for it. And then people are like, where am I living exactly while I'm saving? And we're going to answer that in the next section. Now, number 4, this, if you're still doing this, please leave my class, okay? Please, borrowing for things that depreciate. Oh my God, guys. I remember I was crying when Pick n Pay started that card where people are eating interest-bearing oranges. Interest-bearing anti-Caroline rice. It was so bad, it was already bad. People were buying furniture with interest. And they were buying cars, houses, you know what I mean? But now, people are even buying like chips, knickknacks that have interest. Yeah, you're paying interest on your knickknacks that you ate last year, but you are still paying. Do you understand? It's painful. So if you are buying anything that depreciates, such as furniture, cars, TVs, and you are using a credit card, stock credit, loan to do those things, by the time we come back from lunch, we're going to be walking like this. Because that is the one way in which you pull yourself back. Okay? That is what separates the kids from the adults when it comes to money. If you want a couch and it's 30,000, bantu bakaNkulunkulu, sit down, take 2,000 rand times however many months and go and buy the couch. Sit on a camp chair. The day the couch comes, after 18 months, we won't remember the camp chair. We'll be like, oh, wow, beautiful couches. Do you understand? But I'm going to show you why we have just normalized Africa. But this, even your family, when we finish the masterclass, I'm not going to judge you. If you want to go to your church and teach your church, speak to me. I will provide you with the booklets and the presentation and you can go teach. Because if we are all going to wait on me to teach every South African, we're never going to win the war. Do you understand? In order for South Africa to win, every one of us needs to be able to take the presentation, take the book, put everybody down and say, okay, number 4, not working. Do you understand? Right? So that's really crushes me. Number 5, it's not, who's seen this bridge? Okay, I love that bridge because a white man did it. So it's an actual bridge in Cape Town. And all of his grandchildren and great-great-grandchildren will know that this is what great-great-great-grand... I mean, isn't that just... The city of Cape Town must destroy that thing, ne? This guy was building an interchange. It's actually like 3 lanes there, 3 lanes there. And in his mind, the interchange was going to like be built from both sides and meet. But then, for some reason, halfway through the thing, they figured out that the thing is like this. So they stopped. And then it's there in Cape Town, you know, just so that, I'm sure the guy has depression or he's moved away from South Africa. I wouldn't live. So if you think you made a mistake in your life and you feel judged, just know that at least your mistake is not in the city of Cape Town where they can keep it alive for generations. And my brother's a civil engineer. He actually told me about this bridge before I ever went to Cape Town. He was like, "Sis, yo." So there's a whole chapter on how not to do this. Okay, so when the reason number 5 is no plan, no goals. Most people have a perfect plan in case they die. Who's like that? Who's got children and you're like, "Oh my God, if I die, they're gonna get 6 million. Yeah. And that plan is not even complete because your kids don't know what to do with 6 million, so they would be moiponi there. Go, I blew it. So it's not even a perfect plan, but they've got a perfect plan of what happens to their children in case they die. But they have no plan what happens in case they live. And now, Satan never gets tired. But Satan keeps you alive, and you are not dead. Now you are 60. There was no plan. Because when you were praying that God takes you so that your children can have money. Can you see how, our thinking?
Yeah.
You know, I've got a friend, who was paying 3,000 for funeral policies. Yeah, because she's got a month. Yeah, because she's got, abazali bakhe, brothers, and then there are some aunts on the maternal side. So I'm like, so you are just betting that these people are going to die. And this was before COVID. I'm like, so every year that they are living, they are pulling you back. You've got children and then you've covered your children. And these little people just refuse to die. That's it. That is what you are doing.
Wow.
I told my mom when I was born in 1981, my mother was a teacher. So she took a funeral policy for me. In 1981, Bazalwane, I have killed my mother financially by surviving. Because she was betting on my death, right? It's like, I bet she's gonna die. So I'm putting this money here in case I'm right. And then I don't die. When she was close to retirement, I was working as an executive. And she was like, my insurances, And now I had not started the business, but I was already interested in finances. So I was like, let me plan your retirement for you. I'm like, she had a policy, guys, that was 900 and something. It covered me, my very alive and breathing brother Dumi, my very alive and breathing, just got married last week, brothers, yeah. And I was doing this assessment for her more than 9 years ago. So I was like, Mfazi, cancel this thing. I've been paying it for 30 years. I'm like, but clearly we are not dying. Do you understand? Clearly. Guys, do I look like I might? And it's all 3 of us. She covered us from birth to die. 900 and something. I was like, Mama, if you had taken this 900 and put it into a savings, I would have so appreciated it. Even if you don't give it to me, you can give it to your grandchildren. Can you just please try and think of your family as being alive? Not that they're not going to die, but honestly, we've got a large family at home. So how we allayed her fears is each one of us just put in 15,000 at that moment. And then we said every month we will pay 200 rand into that thing. That thing has got so much money now, we're thinking, shouldn't we do a thing? Do you know what I mean? Because we are all healthy. And she already paid all of that money for 32 years, betting on our death. It's not that insurance is not important, it's just that you must really please be rational. Most of the covers, by the way, for children, it covers you for 7,500 if somebody is less than 5 years. Because you are paying a 2,000 rand ticket for a day. Get it? 7,000 will take you how long? 3 months if you're serious. Then you've already covered your infant. And most funeral covers, they pay only up to 50,000 rand for the main member. If you are getting that million, how long is it going to take you to get 50,000 for your funeral? Within a year. So most of the things, when you look at risk cover, you must really get a financial advisor to sit with you and really look at your risk covers. And we've got one. But they don't deal with you while you're still in debt. They only deal with you once you are not going to lapse. Okay? Because when you're in debt, you lapse, guys. You lapse. Anything happens, you like. So most people have a plan for death. Poor people don't have really a plan for in case they live. The industry has just made you believe that it's better to plan for when you die. My grandmother, by the way, used to really believe that there's a river Jordan that you cross before you get to heaven. And she thought that Israel had streets lined with gold. Right? So sometimes we've got beliefs that are ingrained. Israel is a country. My mother actually went to visit so she can stop singing those songs. You pay a financial advisor who's not coming to sell you a policy. You say, I am paying you not to sell me a policy, but to look at my income. I want to explain to you my family, my concerns, and my wishes, and I wish for you to advise me on what I should be looking at now. And also, it should be age-appropriate advice. You know, because my mother was not wrong. It was just that infant, my mother was making so much money that she didn't need to cover me as an infant. She could afford that 3,000 rand by herself. Do you understand? So, but maybe risk level change. But the best thing that you do is you pay a financial advisor, guys, to sit. Because the problem is people are sitting with financial advisors who are already there to sell you something. So they're not going to change the script now. You know, so that is the number one thing that you can do is pay a financial advisor to sit down and look at you and your family and let them advise you honestly about what you should be doing. And take that advice, because sometimes even I sit with clients just on debt and I say, stop giving your girlfriend 3,000. At yo, Zib. Yo. Stop. It's, yeah, stop, Baba. Like, they're going to come take your house. Stop giving the girlfriend. Yes. Stop, straight. You understand? So another thing is, when you pay for advice, you're most likely to take it.
Yeah, because it's very, like, I was very traumatized with the death of my father earlier this year. Gucci, like, my siblings, we were not on par. We didn't talk about this, like what happens when dad passes. And I was shocked at what my dad was paying for 26 years. It, like, I had to meet Gwalise. Like, I was shocked. And my dad, as I was growing up, I'm 32, he was like, no, everything is sorted. But I get there, and literally it's just a box. And when you even look at the box, like the trauma I had.
Yes.
And now I've been paying, and now all this money that I've been paying for however long, literally all just went there, then Agnagudla, and then now there's mom left.
What do I do? Exactly. So get a financial, and I like that example because some people say, no, Zibu, you can't be right. Our parents have been paying for 30 years. No, seriously, they are paying for a funeral that's going to pay 50,000. Guys, do you know that 50,000 is what it costs us to be here? And there's like 50 of us. Imagine at a funeral. You understand? So a lot of the times, the financial advisors that came for our parents did not come there to help them. They came there to sell a product. Norma is one of the lucky few South Africans who was raised by insurance. So her mother, I think, you know how the universe works and God? Her mother somehow, just maybe like 6 months before she was going to pass away, she didn't know, took different insurances. And luckily for her, the mixture of those were enough to raise her. So when she passed, she tells the story so well. She says, so when she passed away, and people were discussing who's going to take Norma, they were like, uno, uzbano dosathu umntana, kodwa ke umntana uza nemali yakhe. Is that not an easy conversation to have? Umntana uza nama-million. It's easier. So for example, that's the difference between a life cover and a funeral plan. You understand? So the best person for financial advice, I always say, especially for mothers, is Noma Kabaka. I will give you her contact later. And just book a session with her and say, please, can you help? Because she's a registered financial advisor, okay? And she just specializes in the truth, not in, you'll see her. She speaks exactly like me. Okay, so that's the one thing. No plan, no goals. It really, really kills.